Now, we talked just a moment ago about the critical point being, what do you do when you're prospering? That's a turning point. That's a decision point that helps us stay on the covenant path, on a celestial path, by becoming more humble. Well, the other extreme is also an incredibly important deciding factor in the kind of people we're going to be. It's, what do you do when everything's going terribly wrong? I love C.S. Lewis's writings, and one of my favorites of his books is the Screwtape Letters. Really quickly overview. Screwtape is a powerful devil. He's pretty high up in the hierarchy of devils. Actually, in hell, I guess it would be he was pretty low down in the lower hierarchy of devils. I make sure I get that correct. He has a nephew named Wormwood who has a patient, a fellow in England during World War II, who he's trying to tempt, trying to destroy his soul. Wormwood is being trained by Screwtape, hence the name of the book, the Screwtape Letters. So Uncle Screwtape is writing these letters to his nephew to teach him about human beings. C.S. Lewis said it was the hardest book he ever wrote because he said he had to think diabolically and it was hard work. Ironically, when he finished the book, he dedicated it to his good friend who had helped bring him to Christianity, J.R.R. Tolkien, who, by the way, was not flattered and did not appreciate a book about devils being dedicated to him, but that's a different story for a different day. At one point in the Screwtape Letters, Screwtape writes one particular epistle to Wormwood because Wormwood is excited. He thinks, I've got my guy. He's in the depths of despair and he's crying out and God's not answering him. And in this particular letter, Screwtape introduces us to this idea of undulation. He teaches Wormwood and us about our own human condition. He said, human beings are dual-natured, spirit and flesh. And he said, everything humans experience goes through cycles. They have ups and they have downs. It's the law of undulation. In all aspects of our life, we experience highs and lows. Now, here's the point. Brothers and sisters, anyone can be good on a mountain peak of energy and spirituality and light and truth and prosperity. This is a critical point to not choose to become prideful that we talked about before, but to choose to become humble. The other point is what happens here and here. What are the decisions we make? It's here where Screwtape tells Wormwood, oh, be careful, because our cause is never more in peril or never more in danger than when a human being finds themselves in a trough of life. They cry out to the wide universe around them, to God, for help. He doesn't respond. They look everywhere and they can't find any trace of him. He's not talking to them. He's not filling them with light and comfort and truth and relationships at that time. And he says, and still they choose to obey him. That's when the greatest damage is done to the work of the devils. I think that's extremely insightful because you see this over and over in the scriptures. And he goes on in that letter to say, God uses this technique over and over with his favorites. People who he's trying to shape the most, he lets them go through deep, dark troughs that last way longer than they think they should. But they continue to obey, and that's where the greatest character development and growth comes in life.